Today, I'm going to show you how to make a portrait design in Photoshop using a clean, modern workflow that works perfectly for Instagram posts, posters, and thumbnails. If you want to create eye-catching portrait graphics without overcomplicating the process, this step-by-step tutorial will walk you through everything from setting up your canvas to adding effects and text that make the whole design stand out. And if this video helps you, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more easy Photoshop tutorials just like this. Alright, let's jump right in. The first thing you want to do is create your canvas. Open Photoshop, then go to File and click New. For a portrait style design, a very common Instagram size is 1080 by 1350 pixels. If you're making a poster, you can use 2000 by 3000 pixels instead. The key is to choose a tall vertical layout that gives you enough space for both your subject and your text. Make sure your resolution is set appropriately, and if you're designing for social media, 72 dpi is usually fine. Once your document is created, you'll already have the correct foundation for a clean portrait design. Now that the canvas is ready, the next step is cutting out your subject. This is one of the most important parts of the design because a clean cutout makes everything look more professional. Go to Select, then choose Subject. Photoshop will try to automatically detect the person in your image. After that, click Select and Mask so that you can refine the edges. This is especially helpful for hair, shoulders, and other detailed areas. Take your time here and make sure the selection looks natural. Once you're happy with it, set the output to Layer Mask. That way, your subject is isolated cleanly without destroying the original image. A strong cutout is the foundation of a good portrait design. With the subject separated, it's time to build the background. You have a few different options here, depending on the style you want. You can use a solid color, a gradient, a blurred photo, or even a textured backdrop. For a quick modern look, adding a gradient fill layer is one of the easiest methods. Choose colors that complement your subject and create a nice sense of depth. If you want to use an image background, just place the image into the document and press Ctrl and T to scale it so it fits the canvas. A good background should support the subject, not compete with it. Keep it simple, stylish, and balanced. Next, let's add effects to the subject so it feels more integrated into the design. One of the easiest ways to do this is with a drop shadow. This adds depth and helps the subject separate from the background. You can also use outer glow to highlight the edges and give the design a subtle modern pop. If you want to push the creative look further, try using color balance or a gradient map for color grading. This can help unify the subject and background with a more cinematic feel. Just remember, subtle is usually better. You don't want to overload the image with effects. The goal is to enhance the portrait, not hide it. Now comes one of the most important design elements, text. Adding typography is what really turns a simple cutout into a finished portrait design. Use a bold font for your main title so it stands out immediately. Then add smaller text such as a name, quote, or tagline depending on the purpose of the design. For the best results, place your text in empty areas of the layout so it doesn't cover the subject too much. You can also adjust the tracking, which is the spacing between letters, to give the text a more polished and stylish appearance. A strong portrait design often combines large headline text with smaller supporting text to create hierarchy and visual interest. At this stage, you want to think about composition. A great portrait design isn't just about effects and text, it's also about balance. Try placing the subject slightly off-center using the rule of thirds. This creates a more dynamic and professional look than putting everything in the middle. Leave some negative space for the text so the design doesn't feel crowded. Also, make sure the left and right sides of the layout feel balanced visually. You want the viewer's eye to move naturally through the design, from the subject to the text and then to the overall composition. Good spacing is what makes the design feel intentional and modern. If you want to refine the design even more, you can add small details like light flares, shapes, overlays, or subtle texture. These elements can help make the portrait feel more premium and give it a creative edge. Just make sure every addition has a purpose. If something distracts from the subject, remove it. Photoshop gives you a lot of freedom, but the best designs usually come from keeping things clean and focused. Once everything looks right, zoom out and review the full design. Check whether the subject stands out clearly, whether the text is readable, and whether the colors work well together. This final review is important because small adjustments can make a big difference. You might need to move the text slightly, increase contrast, or reduce the intensity of an effect. These little refinements are what separate an average design from a really polished one. And that's how you make a portrait design in Photoshop using a simple modern workflow. You've created the canvas, cut out the subject, built the background, added effects, placed text, and balanced the composition for a clean final result. Once you practice this process a few times, you'll be able to create professional-looking portrait graphics much faster. If this tutorial helped you, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next Photoshop guide. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.